morning, everyone. It is morning. It is 10 o'clock right now. I know, I launched this new series and then I just disappear. Yeah, stuff happens in life, so some things you gotta tend to. If you're subscribed to my other channel, you know what I'm talking about. But we're finally back. Gonna get some more recordings done. That short that I released, by the way, of me teaching how to do this, something so simple, it blew up. Like, within the first 8 hours, it already had 5,000 to 7,000 views. I mean, I kind of knew something like that would gain more attention just because it's like a guitar tutorial, and a lot of people look up guitar tutorials, and my Instagram and YouTube shorts are full of like guitar tips. So I was like, that seems easy enough, just like a 1-minute little short on how to do something. Maybe it'll gain attention. And what do you know, it did. Might start doing some more stuff like that. Like quick and easy stuff just to like keep content going. And then, we'll keep doing this. I'll keep making shorts. I don't have to explain it anymore. I've said it about 100 times. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And it'll happen in time. But all that being said, got a comment on my last video like this that, I had been wanting to talk about this for a while, so I'm glad the person who asked this did. It was, how did I get into guitar? How did I get into Luther Perkins? How did I learn to record? Stuff like that. So we'll kind of make that a couple parts. So like in this part, I'm just going to talk about how I got into guitar and how I got into Luther Perkins. The recording stuff, that could be a little bit more detailed, so I won't really explain that part of it, because otherwise it would be like a 30 to 40 minute long video. And we're just trying to keep it nice and simple. So, how did I get into guitar? Oh, I would say probably 15 years ago. Could have been longer. Because I'm about to turn 27 now, so it was before I was 10 when I learned how to play guitar. We took a family trip to Six Flags, and one of those, I say carnival, it's an amusement park, but one of those carnival games where like you throw a ball into a bucket or something and you win a prize. Well, my brother played that and so happened to win like a very, very cheap classical guitar. And I had played piano at this point, but never touched a guitar. And when he won it, we didn't really know what to do with it. We just kind of fiddled around on it, didn't know anything about tuning it, didn't know anything about guitar. So, year or two goes by of us just fiddling on it, and I had quit playing sports at this point, like rec league sports, and decided I wanted a hobby. One of the things I went into was rock climbing, which I don't do it anymore, but I was big into rock climbing for a little bit. But I took on guitar. So this kind of goes in conjunction with how I learned about Luther Perkins. My dad had to work on something for a friend of his, and we were out in the garage, and my dad puts the Johnny Cash Super Hits CD on the radio, which that was the super hits that had like Ring of Fire, Big River, Folsom Prison, Walk the Line, so on and so forth. And I heard the sound and I was like, it's so simple, but it just clicks with me. I don't know why. There's just something unique about the sound. So I didn't know who Johnny Cash was at this point. I just heard it and was like, that sounds really cool. And I wanted to try to recreate that sound. So I have learned through the years that I am one of those people that when I'm hooked on something, like I will go to the ends of the earth to learn how to do X, Y, and Z. So like learning how to play like Luther Perkins, you've seen through my channel over 10 years worth of stuff, and it changes through the years, the different styles. Like, for example, when I first learned, I thought Luther was doing like that. And then eventually I learned it was like, no, maybe it's more like, it was like that. And then I'm pretty dead set on now it's like that. And then of course he's got his that little slide that he does. But it's progressed through the years. And when I learned about Johnny Cash, I decided that I want to learn how to play like him. But because I'd never taken guitar lessons, minus 1 month, I've taken 1 month of guitar lessons, and it was literally how to play a solo. That was it. But I had already knew the basics going into the guitar lessons. So being self-taught, you know, it was the early ages of YouTube where there weren't a lot of videos on how to play guitar, but there were enough to learn. And my mom bought me a guitar because the other one we got was just so, it was bad. The neck had a high action, the neck was so chunky. It was just a horrible guitar. So when I really wanted to learn how to play, my mom bought me, it was a guitar from Best Buy, of all places. Maybe you've seen it, I don't know if they still have it anymore, but it was the Maestro by Gibson brand guitar. It was a black, it looked like Johnny Cash's Black Martin. It was just a black dreadnought, had white binding around it, but it was like 60 bucks at the time, and it came with a CD on how to play guitar. So that's basically how I learned to play guitar, was I got this guitar that had a CD to show me how to play like all the major chords, all the minor chords, and I think all the 7th chords. Not entirely sure, but it didn't teach you how to play things in certain keys. That I had to kind of learn on my own. And then listening to like country music, basically all my life, you start picking up on the patterns until eventually you start learning, you know, these patterns are there for a reason. So I know it's a simple explanation, but that's honestly how I learned how to play guitar and how I got into Luther Perkins. If it wasn't for my dad playing that CD, I probably wouldn't have taken on learning Johnny Cash. Stepping in for a second, because I never actually explained how I learned to play like Luther Perkins. 3 channels out there: Lerb21, GRG Get Rhythm, and AR Cash. Learned everything I needed to, the basics, and then I took it from there. And you know, once you learn the basics of Luther Perkins, you learn Bob Wooten. And then once you combine the two, you've got basically the only Johnny Cash sound you need. And what's funny is outside of country music, the songs that I play still have like a country swing to it. Just because I've learned it, might as well just keep going. Like if I played, I know my guitar's well, let's just figure out which one. B string. Everyone knows country roads. Like, if you don't know country roads, what are you doing with yourself? So, you know, we'll do it in key of G. But like, if I were just playing it, I'm just over here like... That's typically how I play guitar. It's just that simple kind of Luther Perkins-esque backbeat to it. But when I'm not playing something like that, not even country in general, guarantee most of my viewers might not have any idea what song this is. Do you know it? Probably wouldn't, because it's a pop song. Halsey. Which kind of leads into another topic, by the way. I don't just listen to country music. Like I have two Spotify playlists. One is specifically classic country. Got like close to 400 songs, I think. Various artists from 60s music, because I think 60s country to me sounds the best. But then I have another playlist that's called Little Bit of Everything, that is literally a little bit of everything. It's got country, it's got pop, it's got rock, so on and so forth. And I actually have more songs in that playlist than my country playlist. So I don't just listen to country. I do still swear that country music to me is my favorite. But when I'm at work, sometimes you just need a little something more than like soft country music. I know. Why country covers? Why is my channel a country channel, but I don't listen to country all the time? World's weird that way. I think that answers most of the question. Yeah. So got into guitar just because I simply wanted a new hobby, and got into Luther Perkins because my dad played that CD and I just got hooked on that sound. And basically when I think I hit the peak of my channel was when I was at of the height of my Johnny Cash listening. So like mid 20 teens, like 20, probably like 2013 to 2016, I think, is when I kind of hit my peak. Now it's just kind of listening to the old songs. It's not discovering new ones. But still, every time I listen to old... Do you ever just have those songs that you listen to that it just takes you back to that time? Like, when I listen to... Oh, I don't remember the album. It was a Waylon album, though. Ramblin' Man. It was that album. It was the album where Ramblin' Man came out. And I feel stupid because it probably is Rambling Man. But every time I listen to that CD, I'm taken back to my senior year of high school, because I was on a broadcast crew, and we would ride the bus with the cheerleaders to whatever sporting event was going on. But I just remember listening to that album, riding on this bus to one of the games, and there was this beautiful sunset going on. Like, when I listen to Waylon, I think back to 2016 when I really got into him. When I listen to Johnny Cash, I think of like my grandma, because I would go mow her lawn every Wednesday and Friday, and I'd ride my bike there and I'd have some Johnny Cash going, and it just takes me back to that time. And now it's just like a culmination of everything coming together, and that's what you see. So yeah, my story is really not as interesting as you might think. Literally just a guy wanting to learn how to play guitar and then doing everything he needs to learn how to do it. And I will say, if you can learn the Bob Wooten, Luther Perkins, the simple picking pattern, what am I trying to say? The simple picking pattern, then you can start doing things more like Chet Atkins, Merle Travis, the whole... I don't know what that was, but, things like that. You want to see something, though? Took me a while, and you know what? Let's just do this raw. So this is gonna probably suck, but you'll see that even I make mistakes. It took me a while to learn how to do this, and I don't play it exactly correct, but I like the sound of it. I want to do that again. I want to do that again. We almost got it, but it took me a while to learn how to do that. But I wouldn't have known how to do that if I didn't learn the simple picking pattern first. It's learning how to hybrid pick. To me, it took a while. Learning how to just play like Luther Perkins, I mean, they joke. You see in interviews, they joke that that sound was there within like the first 8 bars. His picking pattern is pretty easy to learn, which I have tutorials on my channel on how to play like Luther Perkins. But learning how to hybrid pick, that's like a whole different ballgame, because that's like a drummer. You know, they've got to figure out how to work both hands, both feet at the same time, all doing different things. It's kind of like hybrid picking. You got to learn the basic picking pattern, and then you got to figure out how to separate your fingers to do what you need to do, all while trying to figure out the melody on the other hand. So, whole different ballgame. Which I will say, learning James Taylor also helps with that, which that's a whole different story in of itself. But for the time being, I think that answers that question. So, to the person who asked that, thank you. I've been wanting to tell that story. And one last thing, because I said we were going to do this, I don't want any continuity error because that clock is going to show every time. So I'm going to say it now when I should have said all this at the beginning. The recording you saw, I Walked the Line, that was the first song I ever learned how to play. That's why I did that little progression through the years. So, Walk the Line was the first song I ever learned how to play. I actually wanted to get another tattoo. I wanted to get a tattoo of a music staff with the notes of I Walk the Line spelled out on it, just the intro, and have it like wrap around my arm. But when I went to my tattoo artist, he said it would have had to be blown up a lot just so we could get all the lines going. And because I'm a bit OCD, if one of those lines was like, it had bumps in it, I probably would freak out. Because the one on my other arm says, when words fail, music speaks. And the guy who did it originally was using like old bulky tools that just it vibrated like crazy, so it's not as good as the other one. But I don't know. I might end up getting some kind of tattoo for Walk the Line just to, like, you know, memories. Well, we're starting to get to that point where I'm just going to start rambling about random stuff, and the video's going to get too long. So, leave your comments, leave your questions, let me know what you want to know, and we'll answer it right here. So, till the next one. By the way, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe.